How to be more resourceful. Mental alchemy. We're going to discuss the concept of resourcefulness, which is very complementary to the last video that I made on definite chief aim, and also very complementary to creating success from a place of flow, which I also discussed, as well as a contribution to the understanding that whatever is revealed to you on your journey upon emotional reaction is actually giving you insightful data or insights, stimulating insights within you to reveal to you how to be more resourceful with what shows up so that you can create what you desire. This holds the key to this concept called mental transmutation. And before we get into discussion, I want to reflect upon a quote by Joseph Campbell. "The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek." And today in my Instagram, I uncovered a hidden insight from this quote that I want to share with you right now to calibrate us on this discussion. And if you've not found me on Instagram, I recommend you check out. I post quotes each day that are based on daily reflections that I have. So upon reflection of this quote, or resourcefulness of this idea that was shared by Joseph Campbell, I revealed to myself that when ideas of fear are released from the cave of your subconscious mind, light shines on the treasures that were always there. So the key is this: you have everything that you need right now within your awareness to bring forth your definite chief aim. And the question is, do you see? Now, the seeing, or the ability to understand, is based on wisdom, which is knowledge plus experience. That's why it's important to stay committed all the way till the end when you decide to create something. Because what you uncover on the journey is revelations about yourself and knowledge, insights, and perspective based on application that we call experience. This information reveals to you what was already there and helps you understand it from the perspective of creation, contribution. This is the art of mental transmutation, which is the key of being resourceful. We are in our true essence resourceful. Remember this, we are in our true essence resourceful. We only in our lifetime learned how to be unresourceful through conditioning. And we have to remind ourselves of our innate resourcefulness in order to unlearn the idea that we are unresourceful. So we all have the ability to see what is in front of us from the perspective of contribution, cross-reference, and relation to creating what we desire. All people, environment, circumstance, and information reveal to us the way to the destination. And one of the keys of being able to do this is the concept of transmutation. As discussed in the Kybalion, they say the transmutation is a term usually employed to designate the ancient art of the transmutation of metals, particularly of the base metals, into gold. The word transmute means to change from one nature, form, or substance into another, to transform. And accordingly, mental transmutation means the art of changing and transforming mental states, forms, and conditions into others. So you may see that mental transmutation is the art of mental chemistry. If you like the term, a form of practical mystic psychology. So what we want is to transmute the meaning in our mind that we're giving to the outer world and realize that it is our true essence to be able to work with everything we have within our awareness right now to create what we desire, which is our definite chief aim. And on the journey of being resourceful with everything you have right now, you are not only able to create your definite chief aim, but for future definite chief aims, you're able to uncover how to utilize the resources available to you, beginning in the mind, as in thinking a certain way, believing reality to be a certain way, to be able to see how the resources can be used to create what you desire. One will see object as opportunity. The other one will see the object as an obstacle. Now, upon deeper reflection, the person will realize that the obstacle is actually an opportunity. This is a matter of perspective shift, transmuting meaning in the mind based on what they experience with five sensory data. Let's discuss this further as we go into the principle of mentalism. As a matter of fact, none but advanced mental alchemists have been able to attain the degree of power necessary to control the grosser physical conditions, such as the control of the elements of nature, the production or cessation of tempests, the production and cessation of earthquakes, and other great physical phenomena. So it's important to understand that we are in the process of realizing a higher ability to work with our mind. This is a journey. If we look at what we've created in reality in this day and age, as far as 2020, we can see that we are far more evolved and understanding of the laws of working with cause in the world within and effects in the outer world. As a result of evolution of the mind, we're able to see how to utilize different resources that are available and combine them together in interesting ways to create results. This is what we call breakthroughs in technology or breakthroughs in any kind of industry if you're an entrepreneur. All breakthroughs that you see today, you have the ability to cross-reference and realize that what they were really doing was leveraging the various resources in unique and creative ways to bring forth something that was a result of a certain way of thinking and reflection upon the resources that they were presented. For example, if you think of a service like Airbnb, they saw the need by recognizing that there are people that are looking for places to stay, and so where they normally go is hotels. And they realized that the technology exists right now to be able to connect these people together in a way they can search for properties by bringing the resources of underutilized properties and connecting them with people that are looking for these kinds of properties. And the technology acts as the bridge. It was the idea that brought forth the combination and connecting of the resources of the physical property or the real estate and the intangible resource of the list of people that are interested in looking for properties and the need and desire to save more money so they can have more resources available to do other things. And those that own the properties were underutilizing them. They could rent out a room, or they could rent out their property every once in a while to earn some income. Now, Airbnb does not own any properties. However, they own this infrastructure that they have created, which is an intangible asset. And this intangible asset really is a list of names of property owners and a list of names of those that are looking for finding properties. That is a valuable asset, and that is how they were able to transmute the meaning of these resources to create something that is of physical value, as in worth billions of dollars. Now, the same is to be said about other technologies as well as information. People have the ability to take information like this and create different kinds of adaptations of this information to facilitate transformation in the lives of others. Much of the information that we learn from business and personal development books and trainings come from the original sources of this information, which can be traced back all the way down to alchemy. And when you sift through the various information and study books like the Kybalion or the Corpus Hermeticum, what you will realize is that the ideas, knowledge, and insights that have been accepted as the norm once originated from these important sources of text. Contemplate through me the divine mind, the world, and consider its beauty. See that all things are full of light. See the earth settled in the midst of all. the great nurse who nourishes all earthly creatures, all is full of soul, and all beings are in movement, the corpus hermeticum. Everything exists right now, and our way of thinking reveals it. Our way of thinking is either based on creative or synthetic imagination, as in taking concepts together as described earlier, and connecting them together. We call this synthetic imagination in a very creative way that has never been done before. We call that creative imagination. So creative imagination and synthetic imagination contributes to resourcefulness, the ability to see what you have right now, and we're going to get into some elements that you can start with that are resources, intangible, which is a result of the person's thinking and working with their imagination and mind. So creative and synthetic imagination is exercised while practicing resourcefulness, which reveals even more opportunities and resourcefulness. So looking at everything you have right now and making a commitment to work with everything you have right now, whether it's physical assets, intangible assets, to combine and see it from a certain perspective to realize your definite chief aim, as in bring forth your definite chief aim. Perhaps an affirmation like this could be beneficial for you. I realize that I have everything that I need right now within my scope of awareness to bring forth my definite chief aim. I realize that by working with everything I have right now, I do not need to look for additional resources. By working with what I have right now, I'm better able to leverage and work in the process of mental alchemy. By sticking with what I have, the way is revealed to me from within by releasing beliefs and assumptions that were based on past programming that are not in harmony with creating what I desire to create. An idea is a way of teaching you about yourself. Okay, so remember this. Ideas, resources, plus imagination create success. So you get ideas constantly from your higher self. This idea is given to you so that you can learn more about yourself. You are to take this idea and work with the resources that you have right now in your imagination, both creative and synthetic, and create success to realize your creative power. This is to work in the mind and first believe it's possible. That's why we're focusing entirely on this video in the mind, because the mind that can see the resources will be able to leverage them. The mind that believes that they can leverage the resources will move all the way till completion and leverage the resources. If a mind cannot see the resources or do not believe that they can leverage the resources, then they will not be able to create success, and all they will see is obstacle, setback, and things not being in their favor. So we value the intangible resources, and you'll learn how to better leverage the tangible ones. So we'll talk about the intangible resources in a moment. Just a high overview, they are beliefs, opportunities, habits, ideas, research and data, strategies, knowledge, experience, and wisdom. Okay, these are important elements that are intangible. And there's a lot more, but these are the ones that I want to focus on to a higher level of categorization for a greater level of clarity. What we have right now is everything we need. The key is in learning how, and that is a skill of resourcefulness. So we take things like beliefs, opportunities, habits, ideas, research and data, strategies, knowledge, expertise, and wisdom, and we inventory what we have access to within ourselves by writing them out, and we say, how can we work with these elements to contribute and bring forth our definite chief aim? That's actually one of the best exercises we do, is look at the definite chief aim, what you're desiring to create, and watch my last video I did on definite chief aim, and then realize that by working with the mind, what you're really working with is the beliefs that you have about what it is that you are creating, and what you're really looking to do from that perspective is release disempowering beliefs and encourage empowering beliefs. That's done in the mind. Opportunities, as in what opportunities are available to you to move forward on the definite chief aim. Now, I'm not going to tell you what these are. These will be stimulated upon reflection of this discussion. What are the habits that you have that contribute to bringing forth the definite chief aim? And what are the habits that appear to set you back and hold you back from creating the definite chief aim? What ideas have you already discovered that can contribute to bringing forth your definite chief aim? And research and data that's available on the internet nowadays, again, intangible assets that can contribute. And the strategies, and I gave you a strategy deployed by Airbnb, and upon careful reflection of how various different businesses, and I speak a lot to entrepreneurs, are formed, you can reveal the strategies that they're using to create success, which is intangible. You can create in your imagination the process of overlapping the strategies that they use with what you want to create as far as a business opportunity or an entrepreneurship opportunity, for example, and they are there within your awareness. You have them revealed to you upon a quick search on the internet or evaluation of people you know that own businesses. And the same is to be said about knowledge, your own personal experience, and wisdom. Now remember this, knowledge plus experience equals wisdom. What we're looking to uncover is the wisdom within us. Upon reflection of the wisdom within yourself and repeating this process, you will realize that you were all along, in your true essence, resourceful, and all you were doing was releasing certain kinds of beliefs and assumptions about yourself and the outer world that was hiding, usually fear-based, and that's why I recommend reflecting upon that quote that I said earlier. When you release beliefs and ideas about yourself that are fear-based or assumptions about yourself, others, and the outer world that are fear-based, you will start to realize that you are more resourceful because you will be able to see, and that's why we talk about unconditional love. You will be able to see the love in the outer world reflected as the resource and the ability to leverage the resource. So what we have right now, this is the affirmation. What we have right now is everything we need. If we believe that what we have right now is not enough, then we are not leveraging the opportunity and practicing resourcefulness. And as a result, we're always going to operate from that perspective because that's our belief. What we have right now is everything we need. The key is in learning how, and that is the skill of resourcefulness. So from the Kybalion again, when we see an idea into completion, we exercise our imagination and resourcefulness to acquire wisdom and are ready for the next level of understanding. Okay, that's my interpretation of this important quote from the Kybalion. It says, "The lips of wisdom are closed except to the ears of understanding." Now what this means is that your inner voice, and watch the video I did on inner voice, will reveal to you how to look at the resources and how to leverage them in a way that will help contribute to creating your definite chief aim. And until you have a certain level of understanding, and understanding at this point really means valuing the intangible resources and the resources that are tangible, as in the outer world elements, and realizing that you can, okay, that's the idea, and then working in your imagination by first trusting your imagination. And if you have the ability to see it in your imagination, then probably what you have done is tapped into your higher level of creativity, which is within you, your creative and synthetic imagination. If you have not done it, then you can affirm that you have it within you by creating an affirmation that goes like this: I have within me all the power, and it exists in my imagination. As a result of honoring and working with my imagination, I'm better able to connect with the outer world 5 sensory data and cross-reference it to the inner world 6 sense data to be able to create in reality my definite chief aim in ways that have never been done before. It is through this process that I will realize the infinite intelligence that exists within me. This excites me, and I move forward to the realization of this truth every single day. When you do that, what you'll find is hunches and inspirations will be revealed to you. 5 sensory data and information in the outer world will appear differently to you. It will appear based on the understanding within, the wisdom within, and this will be the lips of wisdom that will speak to you. The principle of correspondence, which is another important element of the Kybalion, one of the 7 Hermetic principles, states, following the principle of correspondence, we are justified in considering that the all creates the universe mentally, in a manner akin to the process whereby we create mental images. So what we're working with is the ability to look at the five sensory data, what we experience within our awareness, the resources, and form mental images to look at them in a certain way that we might not have looked at them before, by changing the meaning we give to the five sensory data so that we stimulate mental images of resourcefulness and bringing forth our definite chief aim. The ancient Hermeticists considered this principle as one of the most important mental instruments by which man was able to pry aside the obstacles which hid from view the unknown. Okay, remember this. The ancient Hermeticists considered this principle as one of the most important mental instruments, principle of correspondence, cause and effect reflection, cause in the inner world and reflection of the effect in the outer world. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change, transmutation. And they considered this to be one of the most important mental instruments by which man was able to pry aside the obstacles. In other words, not see the obstacles, but rather see opportunity with the resources that are available. And this starts by valuing the mental resources which you have always had. Your ability to create, evaluate, and change your beliefs, your ability to see and recognize opportunities, your ability to change and believe things to be a certain way, thus your habits change. Your ideas are stimulated as a result upon reflection that you are one with the universe that created everything and you can tap into that intelligence. The research and data that is available in the five sensory world is correspondent and cross-reference to your own research and data, which is gathered via your inner voice. The strategies, the knowledge and experience and wisdom also match. Correspondence, inner world to outer world, and also outer world correspondence, cause and effect in the outer world, reflecting back to the cause within and seeing it as opportunity to solve the problem. So when you see an obstacle or a setback or anything that stands your way, after a period of time of integrating this philosophy, you're going to always see it as opportunity. And it will present itself, but it was always there. And the cause of it was in mind. The ancient Hermeticists considered this principle as one of the most important mental instruments by which man was able to pry aside the obstacle which was hidden from view, the unknown. Its use even tore aside the veil of Isis to the extent that a glimpse of the face of the goddess might be caught. Just as knowledge of the principles of geometry enables man to measure distant suns and their movements while seated in his observatory, so a knowledge of the principle of correspondence enables man to reason intelligently from the known to the unknown. And the unknown will one day be known. Everything that was once unknown that is now known was appreciated by others as one day being known, or to some that did not see them as opportunities or resources that they will understand as forever unknown, and they never realize how it will be known. All of creation is complete, remember this, and everything exists here and now. We move through what Neville Goddard, and I recommend watching his videos that I've done on various concepts that he has shared, called a bridge of incidents to reveal it through faith in resourcefulness. So he calls it assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, or living in the end. When you live in the end, you travel through five sensory world, bridge of incidences. Thoughts, emotions, behaviors, actions, and outer world circumstance align based on living in the end, as in believing it will show up as so, and whatever is revealed within your awareness is recognized as an affirmation, and you are able to then work with this information, if needed, resourcefully to contribute to your definite chief aim, either through thoughts, emotions, actions, and meaning assigned to this five sensory data. All resources within your awareness have value. Okay, these are mind calibrators that I'm also sharing with you to contribute to your evolution, which has been very beneficial for me, is to see things from different perspectives. So I'm always looking to, and I recommend everyone do this, to see things from a perspective that is in alignment to the level of resourcefulness that is you. Remember, at your core, you are resourceful. And we also call resourcefulness, when we reflect upon it, as empowerment, as in the power is within you. So all resources within your awareness have value. Opportunity is also found in learning how to value the resources that are available to you. That means People, environment, circumstance, information, any five sensory data is of value. All that is within your awareness is of value. We call this unconditional love. Resourcefulness, or lack of resourcefulness, reveals the meaning we give to ourselves. And everything in life is revealing to us about ourselves, who we are, and how we believe ourselves to be. If we see the outer world as opportunity, then we see the outer world as full of resources that we can leverage to create the end result. Now, that's based on the world within, your mind within. If you see the world, or what you have right now, as lack of resources, it believes that you have a lack of trust, faith, and self-esteem within yourself. So the goal then is to rise up your level of self-love, self-acceptance, self-realization, and self-esteem. Through the process of doing this, you will also see that it was fear, as in not accepting yourself, thus operating from a place of fear, or seeing reality from a place of fear, that was preventing you from seeing the resources that were always there, given to you, there in the moment, because all of creation is complete and everything exists right here and now, that you could work with to create your end result, or leverage to create your end result, whatever word you want to use. Now, one of the symptoms that we are not valuing ourselves, if we say that lack of resourcefulness is a revelation of low level of self-esteem, self-confidence, and self-love, one of the symptoms is jumping from one resource to the next, and only to realize that this is part of an evolution of consciousness, to find ourselves learning the lesson of how to be more resourceful, because resourcefulness is a form of unconditional love, which is a higher level of consciousness. So what I mean by this is that this is all part of a process of evolution. We are being guided to a higher level of evolution. And the process of realizing a higher version of ourself, or higher self, or higher evolution of reality, because all is mind, as in we are all individual expressions of the same mind, the process is found in resourcefulness. This is part of your inner voice conversation. You'll realize, you know within yourself, when you're being honest with yourself, if you're not valuing the resources you have right now. Sometimes it's needed to go and look for other resources. Sometimes it is not. The answer is found within. That's called wisdom. But one of the symptoms of lack of resourcefulness is looking at the grass is greener on the other side concept that we always talk about, not valuing the resources that you have right now as the totality of contributing to your success. And notice this, that when you bring forth your definite chief aims, when you create success, when you work with the mind to create success, resources that you might not have valued before in your past, you will be able to cross-reference, because hindsight is always 20/20, as they say, and value those resources and realize that they were always there to contribute to your definite chief aim. Now, this is okay. You don't have to shame yourself. This is part of the learning process and evolution of consciousness. Instead of being played and moved about by other wills and environment, the Hermeticists use this principle instead of being its tools. The masters obey the causation of the higher planes, but they help to rule on their own plane. In this statement, there is a condensed amount of wealth of Hermetic knowledge. Let him read who can. So the ability to reflect upon cause and effect and understand that everything that you have right now, the acres of diamonds, as Russell Conwell put it, is resources to help you create what you desire, is not only to bring forth what you desire, but to elevate you into higher planes of causation. Now, through the process of repetitive implementation of what is being discussed here to create success again and again and again, you will start to tap into higher levels of understanding and powers of mind. This is available for those that are students, as in students who go through this process, and all of us are actually students. And all of us have the ability to rise up, and it is our thinking and way of looking at reality, our beliefs primarily, that either enable us or deny us. And yes, we have learned our thinking and the beliefs from the outer world, but we also have now the power to change our beliefs. And I recommend subconscious mind modalities to help you with this. And 4 of them I share with you in a video. I'll put a link in the description to them to contribute to the ones that I use to release certain kinds of beliefs and assumptions that I have about myself, the outer world, people, environment, circumstance, and information to elevate me into higher states of causation to bring forth my result and repeat this process again, and again. This principle embodies the fact that there is a cause for every effect, an effect for every cause. It explains that everything happens according to law, that nothing ever merely happens, that there is no such thing as chance, that while there are various planes of cause and effect, the higher dominating the lower planes, still nothing ever entirely escapes the law. The Hermeticists understand the art and methods of rising above the ordinary plane of cause and effect to a certain degree, and by mentally rising to higher planes, they become causers instead of effects. So our goal is to be creators, rise up to higher levels of creation, to be the cause and creator of our reality. And until we see ourselves as the effect of reality, we still have within us much work to do. And this is relative because this journey continues for the rest of our lives. Constantly reflecting upon the effects in the outer world, taking responsibility in the cause in the inner world, and one of the best ways to do this is through practice, implementation, and integration. Now, I always say that there's fundamentally two ways of doing this in varying degrees. One is through meditation. You can go within and evolve your beliefs and realizations through meditation within, or you could do it in the outer world through cause and effect, doing and creating success. Or you could use a combination of both, which I recommend. But the more we reflect upon the effects in the outer world and cross-reference it to the cause within, we're able to understand how what was being presented to us was always resources and revealing to us about ourselves and contributing in nature. And while circumstance might seem to bind us right now, what we do is rise up to higher levels of thought in the world within to see the cause. And one of the best ways to do this is to recognize that whatever is within your awareness that appears to bind you is actually a resource, revealing about yourself and revealing how to work with it to move it forward in a direction that is in spirit of harmony, benefit for you, others, and divine and evolution. Opportunities reveal themselves on the journey as you become more resourceful with what you have right now. So we all look for opportunities, but the truth is this: all the opportunities we ever need is with us like the resources right now. And as we see an opportunity all the way till completion, as Sun Tzu said in The Art of War, opportunities multiply as they are seized. So our goal is to work with the current opportunities and the current resources by practicing mindful resourcefulness and seeing it all the way till completion, to reveal future opportunities that are given to you, received from the world within via your inner voice, to see into completion and be in the image of the Creator. We are creators ourselves. We learn to see what we can't see on the journey of higher degrees of resourcefulness. So in the process of creating success and moving into higher levels of resourcefulness, we begin to see what is appeared to be hidden from you but was not hidden. What you had to do was develop a certain level of wisdom to be able to see it and understand it, and then it makes more sense. Practicing resourcefulness reminds ourselves of how all past successes were created. If you look at any success or definite chief aims that you've brought forth, realize that it was a matter of leveraging resource. And resources were given to you, whether they be intangible and tangible, but really it started from the intangible, which is mind. And the ability to work with these resources changed the meaning you once had about the resources, both tangible and intangible, to create success and evolve, transmute the meaning. Call that mental alchemy. Now, when we repeat this process over and over again, we can reflect upon the cause and effect and the transmutation in between and realize that the way to create success or bring forth what you desire or create in the outer world is through resourcefulness as far as a state of mind, which we call transmutation, which is the ability to recognize and affirm and realize that everything is what you have asked for to create what you desire. Now, the principle of polarity is also important because what you polarize to pulls you in the direction of it or affirms what is within you. So let's look at this from the perspective of the Kybalion. Everything is dual, everything has poles, everything has its pair of opposites. Like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. Extremes meet, all truths are but half-truths, all paradoxes may be reconciled. The principle is important to Hermeticists because it suggests we can only change the polarity of a degree of emotion by recognizing it as the same and choosing the degree which best suits our needs. The outer world is a reflection of the inner world. What you react to reveals the meaning that you have assigned through beliefs and assumptions in the world within, usually past programming, subconscious programming, that polarizes you to whatever shows up, connects you with it. Now, the cause is in the inner world. When we work with the mind and develop these higher faculties which bring us to a higher level of cause, we're able to recognize when we are about to reveal an aspect within ourselves which was within us and identify it in the outer world emotionally, and thus creating accordingly. When we catch ourselves in the earlier stages of about to be reactive to the outer world, we can change the meaning within, in other words, depolarize ourselves from it, and polarize ourselves to a emotion within in which the outer world externalizes accordingly. Now, this is the practice that I talk about in the video, which I recommend you watch, creating success by understanding the levels of consciousness and the emotional guidance scale. So thus, what you polarize to, you become. The art of polarization becomes a phase of mental alchemy known and practiced by the ancient and modern Hermetic masters. An understanding of the principle will enable one to change his own polarity, as well as that of others, because the outer world is a reflection of the inner world. As Neville put it in many of his discussions, to the degree that I'm self-persuaded, they will become so. Everyone is you pushed out. The concept of everyone is you pushed out is realized to a higher degree upon working with resourcefulness to evolve your concept about yourself, to realize that you are more and more so each day, taking the power back, as in through your beliefs and assumptions, believe that the power is within you, and as a result are able to identify when you are about to be reactive and change that within, the meaning within, the belief within, through affirmation or imagination, and then observe as the person, environment, circumstance, or information changes. Some environments, people, environment, circumstance, or information might appear to be more challenging than others, and this is okay. Perhaps you have not developed the skill yet, and this is an ongoing journey which you develop throughout the journey, all throughout your life, which is essentially this. You can be the effect of what shows up, or you can transmute the meaning that you give to what shows up, and as a result, what shows up transforms. In other words, what shows up is contributing. You are one with it, and you are practicing your resourcefulness. And as a result of practicing your resourcefulness, in the spirit of harmony, you, world within, and the outer world move together to create accordingly. An understanding of the principle will enable one to change his own polarity. So realizing yourself that this universe is mental and you are the cause based on the world within, which may be experienced as challenging to believe in the beginning, but remember, this is a journey, so we're constantly getting better at taking responsibility and realizing the effect in the outer world and the cause within. Resourcefulness creates more gratefulness for what resources we have so we can find more flow in what we're doing, which is another one of my important concepts. All of this work is done from a place of lightheartedness, flow. If you become too stuck in your head and too forceful, you will break your flow. And as a result, you will polarize yourself and attach yourself to certain ideas and beliefs that will cause you to go in a direction, and you will lose the ability to see the answer because you have polarized to that idea. Rigidity, internal rigidity, and not being in flow, creates polarization to the elements in your mind that you hold rigid to, as in holding rigid to beliefs, opportunities, ideas, habits, certain research and data, strategies, certain knowledge and experience. The masses of people are carried along, obedient to environment, the wills and desires of others stronger than themselves, hereditary, suggestion, and other outward causes, moving them about like pawns on the chessboard of life. But the masters, rising to the plane above, dominate their moods, characters, qualities, and powers as well as the environment surrounding them, and become movers instead of pawns. Resourcefulness helps you overcome challenges through leveraging existing resources during challenging times while maintaining your flow. If we experience something called challenging times, then perhaps we didn't consciously choose the challenging times. We have to still remember that we don't want to be the effect of the challenging times. We want to be the cause, as in work with the resources available to create success during challenging times. And this is done through maintaining your flow, the harmonious balance between challenge and skill. And watch the video I did on creating success with flow to understand this concept even deeper. The skill of subconscious resourcefulness is developed via the journey of realizing your definite chief aim. So all of this stuff might sound, on a surface level, complex and maybe heavy to some that are in the earlier stages of the journey. But understand something, that you want these things to be subconscious. You don't want to be overly conscious and thinking about all these things, because that is a result of consuming too much information and not practicing it and applying it towards a definite chief aim. When you learn information and you apply the information, knowledge plus experience creates wisdom. It also connects you with your inner voice, and as a result, you will develop a subconscious resourcefulness. Synchronicities will appear, and you will be able to see how, without overly thinking about it, the resources that you have right now can be connected together to create success. And this gets better with practice. So practice is taking the knowledge and not being too conceptual about it, and living the knowledge, being the knowledge, realizing that it is who you are. Your natural state is resourcefulness, and we're just connecting back to our natural state. Patience is said to be a virtue because it causes us to meditate through cause and effect reflection to reveal the resources. They may be hidden, as mentioned earlier from the quote, by fears, doubts, and indecision. So fears, doubts, and indecision reveal to us about ourselves, the meaning we give, the beliefs and assumptions that we have, based usually on past programming. And as a result, it clouds us from being able to see the resources that are available and how to work with them to create success. Thus, we want to make sure that we are removing any kind of fears, doubts, and indecision that are not in alignment with creating the success that we desire. This means keeping our subconscious mind saturated with empowering information, uplifting information, information that is going to bring out the best of you, and understanding that your subconscious mind was stimulated by information that might not be in harmony with connecting with your inner voice and realizing your true resourcefulness. And we make a commitment to then inventory what shows up and make another further commitment to release ourselves from that information. Now, I want to talk about an important model that I use to teach. It's called the format learning model. It consists of why, what, how, and if. Why do we need to know these things? And I've shared many whys. What is it? And I've broken it down to a certain degree. How do we apply it? And where else can we apply it? And what I'm going to talk about now is the how and if. This model helps us sift and sort large volumes of complex information so we don't become overwhelmed by it. By categorizing our notes and taking notes from the perspective of why, what, how, if, we simplify everything and focus on what is important. See, because we live in a time right now where we have so much information. Most of it is not relevant right now to creating the success that you desire and living in resourcefulness. The few things that you have right now is revealed to you, and you know what they are based on cause and effect reflection and inner voice conversation. And with those limited amount of resources, not limited in the sense of scarcity, but choosing to work with a certain set amounts of resources, you can understand why, what, how, and where to apply. The if means, how do you take the resources and create something with it? The Airbnb example being a good example, but you're going to see that there's many examples, and you've done this before. This is not new to you. One key meditation to have before you go into evaluating and referring to your resources and leveraging them is the concept of everything is and isn't at the same time. So the beliefs, opportunities, habits, ideas, research, data, strategies, knowledge, and experience that was applicable for a certain outcome may or may not be applicable for other outcomes. And wisdom is knowing the difference. Now, you'll learn and acquire wisdom on the journey. Remember this. If you're looking to acquire wisdom without putting in the effort, as in the gathering and developing through experience, then it's going to lead into further confusion. So knowledge plus experience equals wisdom. And you'll know if it is and isn't through wisdom. There's a saying, wisdom is knowing the difference. So we work in our imagination, our self-image, skills, and environment. Okay, consider the first two, the inner world, and skills and environment being the outer world, although skills can be both inner world and outer world. We want to work in these four areas to stimulate our greater ability of resourcefulness. So what we want to do is we want to take inventory of our beliefs all throughout the journey. And this is why if you create a definite chief aim, it's easier to do this exercise. If you don't have a definite chief aim, then what's going to happen is you're going to take too much notes and again be overwhelmed. What we want to do is create through experience and leverage the resources, because once you say that this is your definite chief aim, whatever it is you decide to create, then you can cross-reference and realize what is relevant and what is not. And as mentioned, everything is and isn't at the same time, so not everything may be relevant. We value everything, that's a subconscious thing, but what happens is what we work with may or may not be a broad array of resources we have, but rather a handful of them. Usually, you'll find the higher you get as far as ability to create, the less resources you will need to be able to create that success. So imagination, write down your beliefs and limiting beliefs surrounding your definite chief aim. Write down the opportunities that you have, the habits that you have that contribute or don't contribute to your definite chief aim. Imagine them, see yourself, go to your past and your future, and write from the perspective of how will you be, as in your higher self, and current self, as in certain kinds of behaviors that you have right now. What is the ideas that you have? And as a result of watching this video a handful of times, more ideas will be stimulated from you, so I recommend doing that. You can also, if you'd like, look at the research and data that you've gathered, the strategies that you've learned, the knowledge you've acquired that contributes to the definite chief aim, and write all that down. You can look at your experiences in your life where you've created success and reflect upon to realize the resources that you have used to create that success, and that will help further bring more out of this exercise. And as a result of doing this, you will also tap into the wisdom that you have right now. This is the inner voice conversation. And you can imagine it in your mind and realize this. The outer world, as stated earlier, is already complete. We are going through different bridge of incidents to realize where it's complete. And this is found in your ability to stimulate it in your imagination. You're able to then stimulate your subconscious mind upon reflection by using the subconscious mind modalities that I referred to. Self-talk, working with revision, subconscious mind audio, and environments to keep you in the state of mind of resourcefulness and valuing the resources you have right now to create what you desire. Now, as far as your self-image goes, what we want to do is we want to inventory our beliefs about ourselves. Because when it comes to how we believe ourselves to be, it's a reflection of how we believe others and reality to be. So we were looking at self-image base, what is the meaning we're giving to opportunities, our habits, ideas, the research and data, strategies, knowledge, wisdom, and experience that we have. And you don't have to write this down, but it's good reflection points. Much of this you'll refer back to ongoing on your journey to stimulate even more insights and perspectives, and it'll make even more sense to you in a practical way to create success. As far as skills go, what we really want to focus on is our belief about ourselves and our ability to create, and our habits, how we navigate reality and how to evolve them. And when it comes to environment, we want to say that this is really the outer world, the five sensory data world. Now, this is where you're going to find the most opportunity, because resourcefulness is being able to work with the mind, world within, upon reflection of the outer world five sensory data, and see everything that you have right now as contributing to your definite chief aim, and realizing that if you feel overwhelmed by it, then it's a matter of working and seeing all the way till completion your opportunity based on the resources that you have right now. And repeating this process, and what you'll notice is that your beliefs will evolve about yourself and the outer world. Opportunities will increase, but you won't be overwhelmed by them. You will form positive habits or habits that are in harmony and you will release habits that are not in harmony. More ideas in part and in whole will be revealed to you via your inner voice to create success. The research and data, as in working in the mastermind, watch the video I did on mastermind, working with others, research and data, 5 sensory data, your own and others, you'll be able to work with and see the insights in that data and make sense of it rather than being overwhelmed by it. You will reveal certain strategies that exist in the outer world that you can leverage to create your success. You will acquire more knowledge but not be overwhelmed by it because you're really working from the perspective of knowledge plus experience. You're gaining experience as in you're applying. And as a result, you will gain more experiences and you'll better leverage the experiences of others. You'll value certain conversations and information and experiences with others, and you will go beyond the is and isn't and polarizing yourself to disagreeing with others, but rather understanding how you can work with what others do from the perspective of contributing to your definite Chi fame. And you will also acquire in the process higher degrees of wisdom. Now, this whole process of resourcefulness is a lifelong journey. It never ends. And to the degree that you continue on this journey and value this, is the ability you're going to have to work with your mind and maintain and realize how to change the meaning, as in transmute the meaning that you're given to certain 5 sensory data in the outer world and evolve it to see even more opportunities and resources that have always been there as you move into higher stages of your evolution. If you want to copy this mind map, the link is in the description. Thank you very much for watching. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.